MTN SME Hub. Link to growth. Link to success. Link to the ultimate resource for business advice and insights.
Welcome back to the Big Small Business Show, and in studio with us today we've got Greg Walsh. He wasn't the founder of G&G Productions, but he certainly became the owner of G&G Productions. We've heard the start of the story, and in this part we're going to hear the meteoric rise and fall of G&G Productions. Is there a rise after that? Stay tuned to find out. But let's go to the meteoric rise. Let's start there.
So 2008, it's a full-time business, all in. I'm very interested in the international dance music scene. It's a big passion for me. YouTube's blowing up. I'm seeing all these global events. And I start bashing down the door of international DJ booking agents. Rage is growing now, really growing. We come up with this idea of having a passport.
Just before you carry on, some people don't know what Rage is, believe it or not. What is Rage?
So Rage, sometimes people have heard Matric Rage. It's basically matrics. You finish exams, you go to the coast for a week. It's happened before we started it. We formalized it into you buy a full week ticket. You can buy other products through us, make it safe, make it accessible, and then over time turned it into probably one of the greatest technical experience goosebump productions in the country. It's a really, you've been, it's a spectacle. Yeah. So that's what Rage is. Rage was growing. We're now getting international DJs noticing us. In 2013, for the first time, we get international artists to play at Rage. Actually, 2012, to play at Rage. And Rage is doing this meteoric rise, and we unlock a new value, and it's almost the blue ocean world of going, instead of selling you a ticket for $100 each time, we now find a way to sell you a full week for $1,000. But we're getting more out of an individual than we did before, which means we can step up our production. We step up the production, the ticket sales grow. We step up the ticket sales, the production, more sponsors get interested. And I think my background in banking and corporate and university was a bit different to the ex-bouncer event promoter of the day who'd come from the club world, which gave me the boardroom advantage in pitching ideas, selling sponsorships, building presentations. So we started getting quite big sponsorships. And a big moment for me was Vodacom. And I hope no one from Vodacom who was in that meeting is going to watch this. But I mean, Romeo Kamala was in the boardroom. It was a big meeting. I was 24, 25 years old. And I went to the meeting to ask for 1.2 million rand. That was the plan. And in the meeting, it was such a big room, it was such a big building, 3.5 million came out my mouth. There was no science behind it. And 2 days later, I got a call from Mark Taylor, who later left and ran National Mobile, to say, we're in for 3 million if you'll accept 3 million. And that was, again, all these were moments of just this kind of growth. And Rage grew from a couple of thousand matrics to like 7,000 matrics coming. One of the greatest, most respected festivals. We grew sponsorship revenues from a few 100,000 rand to more than 10 million rand a year. We brought Sensation, the biggest indoor music festival in the world, to South Africa in 2013. We put 17,000 people into what was then the Coca-Cola Dome, became the Ticket Pro Dome. That event cost 22 million rand for one night. It had never been done before. Everyone who was a promoter in South Africa had tried to get Sensation. The difference with us, we got $1 million from Samsung. So this was the rise. And we started growing into more and more events in the electronic music space. And they started to get to a bit of a lofty height. I think 2015, 16, Rage kind of peaked at the 7,000 annual attendance. We were doing a lot of great events. We couldn't do Sensation again because the sponsorship didn't renew. We'd done Armin van Buuren's Armin Only. It was also 15,000 people at the Dome. But I was sensing that the ticket market was getting a bit soft. It was like, if we brought Armin back the next year, we're not going to do 15,000, maybe we're going to do 9,000. It's not feasible. So we started trying to look into this like corporate world a bit more. And, along again, sometimes, you put yourself in, you manifest. BMW and Samsung became our two biggest clients. With Samsung, we built the Samsung Galaxy Experience brand. It was app-based, had ticketing built in, and we sponsored a number of other people's events with Samsung. And then the BMW M Festival was another big game changer for us. BMW came with a problem statement. We want to do a festival. What do you think it should be? And so we did the BMW M Festival. Was a huge success, 17,000 the first year, 19,000 the second year. But entrepreneurial journey, it's now Feb 2020. We had got a bit top heavy in terms of costs. I was running a very expensive team, maybe for what we were now doing. having not done some of the other shows. And it was just the worst moment for the COVID-19 pandemic to hit. It hit when our costs were high, our cash flow was low, and it hit us really hard because G&G did nothing for under 5,000 people. And for effectively 2 years, we could do nothing for over 50, then 100, then 100. So our business was just defunct. And for 2020, we held on in hope. We didn't pivot too quickly. We tried to do virtual events, didn't really work for us. We weren't quick enough into the game. And eventually we got permission to do Rage 2020. The regs allowed it. Rage 2020 happened. And as everybody heard in the media, we were the biggest super spreader in the country. And that was the cataclysmic. Okay, financially, we're in massive trouble. We've gone from just under 30 staff down to 2. And now we've had an enormous scandal around our brand, probably bigger than most individuals will ever face in their lives. We were front page news for 6 weeks of every platform. I had BBC Global getting hold of us, Sky News International getting hold of us. Our president said our name on TV. And yeah, that started the spiral down to the very bottom, because now we didn't know if we could do Rage again. We didn't know if we even had a business or a brand. We didn't do any other events now, so it was Rage or nothing. So we started a mobile COVID testing business called Nurse to You. And we went testing at people's homes with nurses, at businesses. We eventually were testing offshore at ships. And just as that business started to thrive, the regulations went away. You can do events again. You don't need to test ships coming into port. So just as we got to like 600 grand a month, that business was gone. But now we could do Rage again. And, I guess the point is it's this extreme tenacity of going, well, we're going to do it again. We're going to fight. We managed to sell just 1,000 tickets that year. If you think from 7,000, we sold 1,000 in 2021. But we built a testing facility for 1,000 people a day. The control was on our side. The media was on our side. And we had to shut it down after one day. But, it happened.
We're going to take a break now, and when we come back, we're going to hear what happened after that, meteoric fall. Stay tuned.
MTN SME Hub, link to business success.